Hallelujah. I'm not wearing black, but I'm always in brown. So guess what? The bad wolf is in town. Let's get it, good people. It is your international man of mystery, the Bad Wolf. Follow me on my social medias and platforms and whatever goodies. My two new Facebook channels, pages, whatever you young kids call it these days. The Bad Wolf, which is one word together, unincorporated, the Bad Wolf, unrestricted. Those are my only ones out there. There's some people pretending to be me and they ain't me. So don't send them any money or crypto or nudes or whatever else. Those goes right to my email. Just kidding, just kidding. All right. Although people have done that. It's a little weird sometimes out there what you get in email. All right. With that being said, of course, we have to start off a little jazzy because that's just how we are here. Remember, this is all education, entertainment from your favorite belligerent non-combatant treaty with the United States, Lord of Levitica, private judge, attorney in fact, and whatever else I may be, father, friend, foe, lover, brother, uncle, nephew, whatever. You guys get it. All right. I appreciate each and every one of you guys. So, mm, what are we talking about today? We're talking about why your revocation of election didn't work. Somebody sent me a video of somebody else who made a video about why your revocation of election didn't work and why the revocation of election doesn't work. Now, I already kind of addressed this in the video before, but some of you guys have not seen my older videos. Go back and watch them. So I'll make a new and updated one because we now know more than what we did then. That's how this goes. As we move, they move. It is hot. It is 95 or something like that today, and it's just, yeah, about noon. So for those people who think I'm wealthy, if I was, I would not be in this. Well, it's somewhat cool, but it's, it ain't cold, but it is better than outside. And because of all the things I've been through the last couple of years, not paying attention and having experienced heat stroke, which I do not recommend, it is a horrible experience. Stay cool, stay hydrated, get your electrolytes, and if you can handle it, enjoy it. And if not, then you're going to be inside making videos like me, which kind of sucks because I don't get to enjoy it with some people out there and, it makes them unhappy. But hey, I would prefer to be alive and happy and blessed than the opposite thereof. And well, anyway, let's get into the damn video. All right. So the revocation, what is it? What is the whole breakdown of the revocation? The revocation or revocation of election, part of it is hidden in the word itself. You're revoking something to rev, to change. Okay. And this is why they have these words like regard and register re. Okay. Basically, there's a lot of things associated with RE and REA, REG, whatever else. But basically it's a Latin prefix that means to remove. That's where even the word remove come from. Remove. Move is in the present. You're moving something. To remove is to redo it. So RE, anytime you see register, record, or whatever else, these are they're displacing you from the private, the real world into their fictional world. Okay. So if it's a revocation of election, that means that there must have been an election made. And I don't know about you, but the term election means to elect. I mean, you chose something. So if it's a revocation of election and it pertains to your IRS account as a taxpayer, then that means that at some point in time, we elected to pay taxes. Now, if you watch any history on the IRS and taxing or whatever else, I don't remember all the dates off the top of my head because I don't really care about that much. I got the basics. Our country was not founded on paying taxes. It was all on tariffs. Oh, yeah, that's right. Some of y'all didn't know. Now, for two brief stints in there, we had moments where temporarily they invoked the government made an election for us to pay taxes. But what a lot of people don't understand and didn't realize is that they only can tax what is theirs. We, the people, are not theirs. They are ours. But the ones who are theirs, we can shift into being theirs by regarding ourselves as 14th Amendment U.S. citizens. As I've stated before, Cornell Law EDU 8 USC 1401 states that we are nationals and citizens of the United States at birth. We get both. Being a national, and the former name for being a national or synonymous name would be state citizen, Floridian, New Yorker, California, Wisconsinite, Arizonan. Now they just primarily go by national of the United States, if they even acknowledge that, even though it's already in their books. But you have to remember, the people that you have access to don't know this information. They're brought up, trained on just everybody here is a 14th Amendment U.S. citizen. So you must be smarter or have to be, need to teach yourself or learn from me to be smarter than what you are and smarter than who they are and what they know. Use their paperwork accordingly. So sometime long time ago, how was that? It's weird. Stepped on something. Um, some individual realized this and going back as far as I can find, the first person would be Henry Campbell Black, who created Black's Law Dictionary, who created the treaties on my website, blacksite32.com, free document. I think it's free document two, the second page. He created a treatise, a way of relief, so that the average person could understand why, unless he works directly for the government or for the state or for something that's paid by them, you, the national, in your private capacity, have no obligation to pay taxes. You don't. The Social Security number was not created as a taxable number. It can be because you can make an election for it to be, or depending on your circumstance or situation or the event you're a part of, it may in fact have to be used as something taxable. But you working at your normal job, you're being compensated for your private labor. That's not taxable. Matter of fact, you can even take it a step further and look up in the IRM manual code 25.1.1.3.3, which is tax avoidance. The second part of it is versus tax evasion. Those are not the same thing. And under tax avoidance, it states that a taxpayer has the ability to settle, reduce, minimize, or eliminate their tax obligation within the merits of the law as long as they pre plan the event. So that then means that everybody can, if done properly, including police officers. I know some of y'all don't like me, but want to be just like me, have reached out to me and I've helped them with their scenarios for entertainment purposes only, of course. But private consultation, hit me up. So, with that being said, or watch all the videos. I give you guys all the clues, give you all the pieces. They're all right there. Much more than these other gurus who want to charge and tax you guys tons of money. Now, don't get me wrong. I knock the gurus out there, for hiding their faces and wearing their cool glasses and talking all mean and gruff. And I don't like the bad wolf, whatever else. Yeah, get in line. I got family don't like me. You think I don't sleep good at night? I sleep just fine. The people who choose not to like me have not liked me since I was a kid in my own family. I grew up with that shit, son. What did Bane say? You merely adopted this. I was born in it, forged in it. This is my home. People not liking me is my normal day. It's my breakfast, bro. But by all means, keep mentioning me on your YouTube channels because it's doing wonders for my numbers. Apparently, some of y'all have slowed down because my numbers have slowed down just a little bit, but they're still going up because of word of mouth and great viewers like you. But let's get back to it. So the revocation and you and your social, all of that can be used in duality. You're a national and you're a citizen. Your social security number, depending on the event that you're a part of or what you're doing, can be taxable or have no obligation to pay, depending on what you're doing, what you're receiving, and how you're using it. And if you ultimately know how to move how I know, nearly nothing you receive would be taxable if you do it the right way at all. There's literally a way to make all tax obligations go away if you know what you're doing. There's also ways to pay your tax. There's also ways to pay off things or to discharge things with instruments or certain, whatever. There's tons of ways to get the stuff done. I've made the videos. So with the revocation of election, you now know that depending on how you operate your living you and your private name, your legal public name, you operate yourself as a national or a citizen, your social security number taxable or no obligation to pay tax. Depending on what you're doing, you can utilize these. These are the secrets they don't want you guys to know when they sell you like $2,500 packages. Let me just tell you guys for right now what this is. For $2,500, all right, you can buy everything on my site for like half that price. And I may kick in some extra files. And I may even come and show up and have like lunch or something with you. I mean, for that kind of money, y'all dropping on one damn trust. You can buy all my trust for less. So y'all pay $2,500 for one trust, and for like 1,500, I think is my max price on everything on my paper site. And get everything, and about the same price on my seminar site, which is jamesclovett.com, the video site. You can get almost every video on there. Plus, there's a lot of free ones on there right now and discounted. So keep that in mind. Anyway, so what they did is 14th Amendment U.S. citizens who are postal workers, magistrates, police officers, almost all, yeah, all law enforcement basically now are all legal and corporate versus lawful, and they should be operating under the Constitution because they themselves, all of them, including the courts, can operate under statutory law or constitutional slash common law slash equity. But most of them don't know it. They don't use it. They don't do it because 99.99% of you guys and 99.99% of them, 99.99% of the time, are operating in commercial corporate de facto law, statutes, rules, regulations for the 14th Amendment U.S. citizen, trustee position, whereas the national is the beneficiary and the grantor in this trust that is the United States. So the election of a 14th Amendment U.S. We'll just use a police officer. I like to pick on them. When he's doing his job, he is a 14th Amendment U.S. citizen, but he also, in his private capacity, is a national, whether he knows it or not. I don't give a fuck. If he's a good person or she, whatever, they, them, pronouns, whatever you guys want to use these days, don't really care. Um, but at work, he has to be that because that's what the job. Because when you're servicing the public, as they do, and private citizens slash nationals, their bosses in that capacity, that job requires for them to absolutely be, and they're paid by the state or the government or whatever else, blah, blah, blah. That position when servicing the public is a 14th Amendment U.S. citizen. So when we're born, we all get the ability to be one or the other in any one event. You can be it multiple times a day. When he gets up in the morning, he's a national, whether he knows it or not. Then he goes and puts a suit on. Now he's a 14th Amendment U.S. citizen and a cop. A LEO, a legal enforcement officer for the corporation, which is for profit. And he's not there to actually serve and protect you, but to sever and prosecute. That's what that position really is, especially when they're not operating in lawful capacity. That position requires him to pay taxes, but even he has the ability, per the IRS, if he knows what he's doing, to not pay federal taxes. Now, state tax, on the other hand, he generally has to pay because his money is derived through them. Feds ultimately control them, but they're not getting their money directly from the feds, getting from the municipalities. Municipalities are registered to the state. So you can stop paying as a cop federal taxes, but you're going to have to still pay state. Now, in some states, if you're exempt on the federal level, you're exempt on the state level, but that is not all states. So I generally tell people, and here I'm throwing the freaking dog a bone here, state of whatever, because I know you guys and your little board members like to watch my videos, because some of them are actually on my side. They're on my team. They work for me, Frau Herbissina. Yeah. Why don't you in the freaking laser get a freaking room? So I hear things. If you're exempt on the federal level in some states, you're exempt on the state level, but not all. So I tell people, do your own research. Matter of fact, what I do tell people to give the states a bone to states, all right, just pay state. They're actually a hundred times harder to deal with than the Fed level with taxes. Just pay the state their couple $100. Give them their little sweet potato pie and they'll shut their mouth. You should be happy you're keeping your 30, what is it now, up to 37% or whatever it is. That's a big difference. And all of the cops who have come to me, and I won't tell you their names or anything like that because everything is private, confidential, and I destroy all information and all consultations, all videos, all tapes, all email transactions, or whatever, to almost military grade because that's a thing too. So I do protect even them, the good ones. Bad ones, if they don't tell me they're bad and they come to me, then they still get help too. It is what it is. They're all entitled. Everyone's entitled. Law enforcement all across the board. Everybody can do this if you know how to do it the correct way. And then we won't talk about how the courts are supposed to report their taxes and things. We'll leave that alone for now. I talk more about that in my seminar videos on jamesclovett.com. So watch that. But some of them absolutely have to pay the state or absolutely have to pay the government. And if they don't, they can get into trouble. A little gem drop there if you know how to use that piece. So the average person operates in, and I use the word operate because that means commercial, in their public capacity. They're regarding themselves as a trustee and a taxpayer and a business extension of the United States government. You have to then pay taxes. So why doesn't the revocation of election work? Well, that's because in the old days, even though we people had the treaties, people lost the treaties. They forgot about it until I found it and made the video on it. Then other people started remembering it again and they started making their own treaties, myself included. When I started coming onto this 20, 30 years ago, people were like, oh, use this treaties that we made. Then I research it, add to it, remove some things, add more into it. And then a lot of us sell it. You can still get mine on there. If it's not free, I think it's free now. I don't even know. I've been on my site. It's all AI now. But there's free ones, there's paid ones, and then some people charge you thousands of dollars. I won't mention the name of those people, to do what you guys can simply do. Now, when you mail in the revocation of election, what we didn't know is that the IRS will either make a note in the account or they'll toss it and they'll send you back one of three or four different replies. They'll say nothing, they'll say this is frivolous, they'll say fill out this form. They've got three or four different things from all the different campuses move a little bit differently. Even if they notate your account, here's the problem. The IRS is down like Charlie Brown to make money. they by law always have to and will keep the door open for you to do something taxable. So by just sending in your paper revocation of election with all the codes and the laws and your, this and then that and whatever else is not going to have or force them to close your account and wipe it. That account makes them money just sitting there. And all they have to do is go, it's like me having a Chictionary. Okay, that's for a little black book of all the girls, and just being like, I know all of them are DTF, down to fool around. And at some point in time, even if one's dating, then I go to the next one, or this one's, married now, go to the next one, maybe she'll hit me back up later, whatever. So all they have to do is at some point in time is have their computer system or AI now or whatever else send out what is it, 50 cents or is it, I don't even know, it's 50 cents, 70 cents for a stamp. Reach out to these people and somebody is going to take the bait and bite it. Those are good odds for less than $1 worth of work. The odds are in their favor. And there are taxable events. So they're not going to just take your document. That document should be used primarily if they attack you and you are 100% sure. Oh, sorry. Sorry, just a second. That what event they're talking about, you are in fact in a position where you had no obligation to pay. I've worked with some clients and like, well, if I did everything right, and then I talked to them about, you know, who pays them or what the event was, the transaction, whatever. And I'm like, no, you absolutely have to pay. See, remember the IRS said you have to pre-plan your event. You can't just be like, nah, you can't pull a Wesley Snipes and be like, yeah, nigga, Blade don't pay taxes and just do that. You can't. You can ask Sherry Peel Jackson how that worked out. You can't just stop. She used to work for the IRS. She's on our side now. So, well, to Sherry, you cannot just stop paying because when you filled out that 1040, that was an obligation that next year, as a member of theirs, you're going to pay again. And when you don't set the record straight, they then, through implied license, they believe they have the ability to then enter in that you probably got busy and you forgot. Maybe you were locked up. Maybe you're at your mama's house. Maybe you're hiding from the feds. Maybe you're in Australia. Maybe you're in the hospital. Maybe you just forgot. So they put in an approximation return in your name, approximately guesstimate how much you probably should pay. That's part of the membership. They have that ability. Even though we didn't ever sign an initial agreement with them, but on the bottom of the 1040, if you read the small print and blah, 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 you kind of see that they just assume they can do that because you're a member. So, and they're not a government agency, but they're protected by them. They work with them. So they are, in fact, a type of government, but they're not the federal government. They're headquartered in Puerto Rico. Now you know, and knowing is half the battle. So the real revocation, as I said before, is when you go to your employer and you overstand that your employer, who's been allowed to be an employer, who created that company as a taxable U.S. business, it's a taxpayer. That company is regarded as a legal person, like your name in all capitalized letters. It's a legal person. And that legal person is an extension of the United States government. So they granted it on the public side to do business and to make money and to pay its taxes. When they created that company and said you want to create a company, but you want it to be regarded as an employer, it's like taking sand from my backyard and then making a sandcastle and putting in some techno lights. And I'm like, wait a minute, you wouldn't even have that club if it wasn't for me. I want my piece of it. I want money. Pay me. When you use somebody else's stuff, they have a right to it. Subrogation. My name is on it or used a part of it. It'd be like if an ex-girlfriend had like a credit card of mine and then, bought like a nightclub with it or whatever else, which I don't have a credit card that big, so it ain't gonna happen. Um, but and she was running it and making money, I'm legally entitled to some of that money. It's really my club. So when you go to your employer and you then fill out your W-4 and your other paperwork, and you put in there, taxpayer, U.S. citizen, zip code, um, you don't check that off that you're exempt, etc. But you do check off U.S. citizen, taxpayer, and zip code, and you take the deductions. The deductions are a benefit for taxpayers. So if you take the deduction, you're saying, I want the cheese, I'm your bitch. I'm a taxpayer. That's to lure you into the van, and now you're at Diddy's house at the all white party. I was not at any of the Diddy parties. I left early. Actually, I must be ugly. I didn't get an invite, so there's that. Otherwise, I probably would have smashed Cassie too. I mean, no. Anyway, so at the end of the day, depending on how you regard yourself or present yourself as a national, or you regard yourself as a 14th Amendment taxpayer, de facto legal person on the public side, then you have an obligation to pay, which means you're taxable and you're a taxpayer. State citizen, the national, the private has no obligation to pay. You're a Native American, you were born here. Native Americans don't pay taxes. You got naturalized here, you're a tax, you can go either way too. You get both. Once again, 8 USC 1401. You get both. How do we know that those things are not the same like in every other country? Because we have 8 FAM, which stands for Foreign Affairs Manual. They're telling you about yourself in the government's books, but you got to read them. You got to read the laws and the codes. 8 FAM 301.1-1, letter B, states that citizenship and nationality are two separate and distinct things. What the government really wants is for you guys to know this information. At the same time, some of them don't really like that because then it means that they lose some of their power and make a little bit less money as trustees for we, the American people, the sovereigns, the nationals, the private citizens, state citizens, the non residents, the guests of the United States. Because the United States is a corporation. The United States of America is our geographical land that we own. They're just trustees for it and the money and the lakes and all that. But the corporations have started to kind of take over and muscle around our governments and things of that nature because the people are asleep at the wheel. You want to know why they're putting in all that trash stuff in your food, your Franken food? Your food's got sucralose in there, high fructose corn syrup, parabens, aluminum, whatever else is because the boss, you, the bosses, the American people are asleep and you're asleep at the wheel. An old pervert Uncle Merv over here's got one hand down your shorts while you're drowsy at the wheel, and he's like, "Oh yeah, we're going to my house." And I happen to live next door to Diddy. The diddler. So until people start saying, "Yeah, we're not going to eat your food. We're going to protest. We're going to not eat anything with 20 chemicals in there." I don't know about y'all, but when I was a kid, most things had no more than 10 chemicals in it. And usually it was not even chemicals, it was real shit. And then you find out, like, we'll call this chip company Ringles, and those aren't even real potato chips. They're a chemical solution that are then baked in the form of a chip. Or we'll call this company, we'll call this product Moat Meal Cream Pies or Snocko Bell or Crap Donald's. They've learned that if they can chemically make the product look, taste, and have textures as close as possible to what you remember, you'll eat it. Anyway, I digress. That's more of a Badwolf unrestricted channel stuff. What I'm trying to go get with it is that your election failed because mailing it to them, which is not a bad thing to do, but to me, it really just puts you on their radar. And then now compliance might be triggered. So now compliance, like, oh, look, this person hasn't paid. Hmm. Aha, darkness. And they've been getting paid and haven't put in the proper paperwork. See, time to send out a letter for 75 cents. Stir the pot. That's it. All you have to do is go to your employer, fill out your W-4 the correct way, which I've already made videos for that. Odd noises. And you're good. But that doesn't mean that you're tax exempt. Remember, tax exempt is their word. Only they can call something tax exempt. If conducting yourself, no, that's a commercial word too. You, if laboring, you, if existing as a national, a living being, are being privately paid by your employer, you have no obligation. Tax exemption is their word. You can't just say you are. And there's going to be events, say you pull out money from your 401k. That 401k is a benefit and privilege of the public side. They created it. They created that monster. It is taxable. So your normal scenario, if all year you did everything correct, you gave them, some places don't take your W-8BN, but they all have to take the W-4 and whatever else filled out appropriately. If you have to pay state, you pay state. Generally, I just say pay state unless your HR says, oh, well, then you're exempt from state too. Then go with that shit. If not, just pay state. Otherwise, you got a problem. And then you're going to be doing a consultation with me, trying to figure out how to get out of that shit. And I may or may not be able to do it. So fill out your paperwork correctly with your employer. That's all you got to do for your revocation of election. If you get attacked, yes, it is good to have the W-8BN, your revocation of election you either got from me or free or paid whoever for, blah, blah, blah. But I'll tell you this, I've had numerous customers since a little bit before April come to me because they did somebody else's stupid ass process. Now they got a tax bill. Now they owe more. Now they got penalties and fees. Now they're getting garnished. Now their bank accounts are empty. Now they're in court or etc. And I would say probably 99% of those I was able to make go away, and then some we're still working on. Not everybody out here in this niche has the right information. Tons of other people, tons of channels have come to my channels, learned here, and then squirreled away to theirs. And some of them have done it right. Some of them have even done it right and given me credit. Some of them are agents of these elite cabal, the state government programs, and whatever else to detract from people like me giving you guys the truth, which is interference of a national, just saying, But that's how the game is played. So, why did your revocation not work? Because you didn't do it properly. You do it at your employer, or if you are your own employer, then you do it for yourself. You keep the document, you use it if they bother you. If you use it and that doesn't make it go away, then you contact somebody like me, or you watch my videos that I've already given you guys basically on how to do it. All the pieces are on my videos. I'll catch you guys next time. Ta-ta. Hope you enjoyed the video. Hit that bell, like, and subscribe on the way out. It helps with the algorithm. Oh, and before you guys go, make sure you guys are subscribed because YouTube has unsubscribed a number of people and they're slowing me in my efforts to get to 100,000, which won't happen this year, but should be next year. We'll see. But here's the thing, even if it doesn't, at some point it should and it will, but it's not really about that. It's about helping you guys. And then from each one of you guys, your donations, your buying the files, your consultations, your whatever, help me to keep the lights on, food on my table, to help out less fortunate people. I also donate some of that money. And then you guys take care of me. I take care of you. Everybody wins. I'll talk to you guys later. Thanks for supporting.